Hi guys, it's Romeo from World Schooling Hub, and I wanted to share a bit of an update with you guys over the site and what we're doing with it, and a quick bit of backstory. So hopefully this will be useful for you. So please bear with me for a few minutes, and I'll go through this. So we started, my wife and I, Simona, started the World Schooling Hub a couple of years ago, really, or at least that's when the idea first came around. And it was because it was taking so long to trawl through various different groups, particularly on Facebook, to try and find other families to meet up with. And then what would happen is when you finally got into a group, especially if you were traveling to a new area and you didn't know who was there, and eventually find a group, you ask who's around and you get maybe a few comments of whoever happened to be reading the post that particular day or that particular week. Or you followed a thread, maybe you did a search and you followed a thread for where are you, and you get hundreds of comments that are from people all over the world. And it was really time consuming to try and find other families to meet up with. So that was one kind of point. So we thought it would be much easier, it would be much cooler if we had a map where people could go onto it and you could see exactly where other families were, and then you could just contact them. Really simple. And that's how it was born. And then we had some really good feedback from people, from some families who said, we really like the idea, but we'd rather that it wasn't public, which is totally understandable. Some families really want to make sure that they're as private as possible. And we thought that's a good point. So then we took the site down and we spent quite some months working out how we could do it. And eventually we came up with doing a completely and utterly shielding the site from the outside world, and doing a video call with every single family who's going to be on the map, so that we could check that they are a real family. So we have to see at least one of their children, and also to check the passport of at least one of the adults and one of the children to make sure that they are who they say they are. So arguably a bit extreme, but we realized that that was the best way of ensuring that anybody on the map is, who they say they are. And so you can be very confident when you're using the site that the people you're meeting up with are the kind of the right people, families. And because we were world schoolers, we were focusing on the world schooling because that was our major kind of concern. We were traveling, we want to meet up with people. Fast forward now, we've had the pandemic, loads of people haven't traveled, ourselves included. We've been very stationary for this past year and a half, a couple of years really. And so we realized that actually world schooling is important to us, and I'm sure to a lot of you guys, if not all of the people watching this. But underneath all of this, we're all homeschoolers. So when we were originally living in London, it was much easier to find homeschooling families. But now we're living in the south of Italy, and when we've been in other places, it's been much more difficult. And what we realized is, in getting feedback from some other people, that of some users and whatnot, is some families feel that because they're not world schooling, the site isn't useful for them, because they say, oh, we use it when we might travel or what have you. And actually that's not really the point of the site. The point of the site was so that you may be based in a particular place, but yes, you can go out and find somebody who's in that place. But also, more importantly, if you're on the map, people can come to you and say, either we've just moved to the area, or we've been living here a while and we didn't realize there was another homeschooling family close by, or we're world schoolers and we're traveling through, or we're just here on holiday and we're looking for other homeschooling families. And so after quite a bit of thought and discussion, we decided to rename the map side of it. The map is the part that you'll actually access, to see all the other families on it. So we're renaming it to, get ready, HomeSchoolingMap.com. Very simple, does what it says on the tin, because we realized that there are a huge amount more families who would consider themselves homeschoolers who don't consider themselves world schoolers. But when it comes down to it, meeting up with these families, they're still really interesting, lovely families. Like there's no problem with meeting up with the homeschoolers. We want to meet up with homeschoolers because the whole point of the whole map, the whole platform, the reason it's in existence is because we as parents want to meet up with other families. And when we're having our kids all day, every day at home, we want to be out and about, again, meeting up with other kids so that they can interact and socialize and play, and so that the adults can make friends as well. Because we all know how challenging it can be, homeschooling our kids, and how much better it is when we can do that in group, in company. in whatever capacity you want to. Some people obviously are extreme unschoolers on one end of the scale, and other people will just kind of replicate the normal school system but at home. Wherever you are on that scale is not important. What's important is that it was always better to be able to meet up with other people, and that's what we were trying to do, and we are trying to do, to make this easier for everybody. So the first thing we've done is rebranded the site to HomeSchoolingMap.com. So the World Schooling Hub will still be there. That's still our kind of, let's say, umbrella site, but we're trying to broaden the scope of the map because we want more people on it, as many people on it as possible, so that there's lots of people for you to meet up with, which is the whole point of it. So that's the first big change that we made, which will allow us hopefully to bring on more families. The second thing we've done is we were trying to think, okay, we understand that for a lot of families, they're not either ready or they don't want to, or they can't afford to pay to get onto the map and to be able to search the map and whatnot. And that's totally fine. The flip side is we have done this project, in our spare time, basically. I built the website, I've done all the back end tech whilst trying to kind of do other, our other businesses and whatnot. And to be honest, I'll be totally honest, the last couple of years with COVID has really impacted us financially negatively. So it's been a real struggle to dedicate resources to what is now the HomeSchooling Map or the World Schooling Hub. And so because all of this time and resource needs to go into just building it, then we want to put time and resource into sharing it with many people and getting more people onto the map. And then, of course, it takes time to schedule and book and do the onboarding calls, the security calls to check people's passports and whatnot. We thought that it was fair to charge for the platform because really it's you supporting, it's users supporting us being able to get it out to more people. We want to spend money on advertising to get more people to know about the map and be able to use it, because at the end of the day, the whole point of it is to get as many families on as possible so that everybody on there has lots of people to meet up with. And so that's fine. But what we were thinking is, well, how can we help get more families onto the map, but maybe have a free kind of tier, so to speak. And what we've come up with is something that doesn't impact the security side of the site, which is what was really important. So what we've got now is any family for free can effectively register themselves as an anonymous family on the map, and they don't actually have access to the map, so they can't see who's on the map. But what happens is they'll have a profile on the map, and that profile at its core will just have the city that they're in. In fact, everybody on the map, we only allow people to go down to the city level, not to the street level, because again, for security, we don't want people to have to put in their actual address. So when you put yourself on the map, it comes down to the city level, maybe the neighborhood level if it's a particularly big city. But other than that, no one can see exactly where you are. So now we've got these anonymous profiles whereby they're on the map, but there's no contact details. So again, we have the offer of, when people put themselves on the map, they put themselves on with Telegram or WhatsApp or Messenger, or any combination, or all three of those. And the reason being because, again, we wanted to make it easy for people. When they find someone on the map, they just tap one of those buttons and immediately they're chatting with the other person. And because the other person is on the map, they want to be found, they want to be chatted with, and therefore, they want to hear from you. So for the free tier, what we're going to do is you're not going to be able to have the chat options, but what you will have is an email. So if somebody is searching the map and they search their area or what have you, and they see your profile, there won't be any personal details about you, but there will be a button that says contact, basically, and they'll click that button and it will send an email, and then we will send that email on to you guys or whoever that person is and say, listen, somebody wants to connect with you, somebody wants to meet up with you, and if you want to meet up with them, then you can join the map, and if you don't want to meet up with them, then you don't have to join. So that way you can kind of see if it's going to work for you in terms of having people contact you by joining for free. And for the people on the map, there's a lot more people that they'll be able to potentially contact. So this is, hopefully the best solution to letting people kind of try it a little bit whilst also getting more families onto the map. we're trying to work this out as we go, so maybe it's not the best solution, only time will tell, but we're doing our absolute best to try and make it as useful as possible for everybody. And so hopefully it'll work and people will will make use of it. But what I would really stress is that unless you're actually searching the map, then you're unlikely to be able to find, well, if you're not searching the map, you can't find people, obviously. So the best value of it is when you're able to search the map and find other families and contact them. But I think that pretty much kind of concludes the two kind of big changes that we're making. And I will reach out to people individually to to either get them on the map as a free anonymous member or what have you. Maybe we might allow it so that the anonymous members can upload some stuff, like maybe if they wish to, a profile picture, and if they wish to, some descriptive text that is more general. So maybe it might say, I don't know, we have 3 kids, we speak, German, English and Spanish or what have you, kind of basic details that somebody reading might go, perfect, that's just what we're after, kids of 6 and 2 or what have you. So we can look at that if people are interested in that. But what we really hope is that, more people basically use the platform and more people do join. We have the 2 pricing tiers. One is $40 per year, US dollars, and the other one is $10 per month. The reason the $10 a month is so expensive compared to $40 per year is because we really hope that you just go for $40 per year. I'll be honest, because it just makes it easier. We want to try and keep it cheap, but there are costs involved. Because we are pulling data from Google in order to display the maps and stuff. Every time people are using the site, there is a cost to us, and obviously the server resources and hosting and all of that stuff. So we do need to kind of have a way of bringing some revenue to support the project. And then, as I say, I really want, ideally, us to be able to get some revenue so that we can advertise it and get more people knowing about it and using it. Because the vision is, if you imagine that there are thousands of families all throughout the world using this, then it will make it so much easier. And you can go on your mobile to just go, let's contact families, find families, nearby and blah, blah, blah. And I'll leave you with one little story which was really funny. We're currently in a place called Castrovillari, which is in Calabria, the toe of Italy. So it's right in the south. And homeschooling is not really done here. In fact, most people think it's illegal. It's legal, but down here they're not quite as up to date. And we had a family join the map, and they didn't put their profile on. So they paid, but they didn't put their profile on. And we say, look, please put your profile on, because without it, people can't find you. This is the whole point of the map. And this is a family, I can't remember where they're from, but let's just say German. I don't know, but let's just say German. And also then I don't say who it is. And so they run it with a monthly fee, and they run a couple of months, and they said, you know what, it's not really working for us, so we're going to quit. And I said, that's, it's not a problem, and you can totally do that, but you haven't put your profile on yet. So, you really should at least try it with a profile so people can find you, which is kind of the whole point of the map. And they said, okay, cool. And, they said they'd try it a little bit longer and put their profile on. Everybody puts their profile on. I have to okay the profile just to make sure, again, no one's put anything, dodgy on there or what have you. And I thought I was looking at something strange, because literally the town that they've put on is in Calabria. It's like an hour away. And we were actually in that town on the weekend that, 2 days before they put their profile up. And there's no one in this area of Italy. And so I messaged them and said, listen, now that you're on the map, I can see where you are, and you're literally an hour away from us. And they actually replied to say, well, we're not there yet. We're moving there at the end of the week. We're in another country at the moment. But the point being that it was a really good example for us personally and generally. If you're not on the map, people can't find you and they can't contact you. And conversely, when you are on the map, people will contact you, even if you're living or moving to a really kind of small part of the world, which Calabria is. And so now we're going to meet up with them next week. So we're really excited because we found somebody through the map, and I know other families have connected with other people through the map. So I really, really urge, if you're still watching, I'm sorry, I thought this would be quicker, but it's taken nearly 15 minutes. But I really hope that you will, at the very least, put yourself on the map anonymously. There's no personal data that will get shared at all. You don't need to upload any personal data at all. It's literally just All we need is your email address so that we can contact you if somebody wants to contact you, and your city location. That's it. So just email and city. None of that, well, the city is obviously shared on the map, but your email is not shared with anybody at all. And then we really hope that you join as a kind of paid member, so you can search the map and you can initiate contact with other people, and you can add other stuff to your profile, such as your Messenger or WhatsApp and Telegram. So I hope that you might support the project and help us to make all our lives easier, so that we can just meet up with more families. That's it. That's all we want to do. That's all homeschoolers want to do. So thank you very much for watching this far. If you've got any questions or suggestions or thoughts or feedback or anything, just drop me a line. You can either reply to this if it's an email or a comment, or just hit me up, romeo@worldschoolingHub.com, and I'd be delighted to hear from you. And if you do want to join, I'd be remiss if I didn't say it's worldschoolingHub.com. Just head there. We're still going to keep that as our kind of main site, even if the map is in a completely different place and under a different, URL. Anyway, thank you very much. I'll stop blabbering, and I hope to see you on the map and actually meet up with you at some point soon. Cool. Take care. Bye-bye.